Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today my video is going to be a little bit in fast speed because it was a very long video, but we're going to be doing collage using faux flowers, fabric, wool and buttons and some brown paper from an Amazon package. Now I had been asked recently for ideas on how to use all of these items, so I thought why not show you the remake of a card I made a long time ago which used all of these items to make a pretty sunflower type card. So I'm making myself a rectangle of brown paper. This is not going to be the base of the card, this is going to be glued to the front of the card at the end, but it's the base on which we're going to be making the picture. I'm just loosely tearing my edges for a little bit of roughness, and I'm going to be inking all of these with vintage Faux. Now this fabric here is actually salvaged fabric from old clothes that I have just adhered to double-sided 3M tape and then cut it into strips. You can do this with any thin fabric and you can cut them into shapes or into strips, make fabric stickers. We're going to be using that later on. I'm going to take apart some of these faux flowers. To do that, you just pull off the back green plastic piece and then the front bit should come out and all the petals should separate. And don't throw those plastic bits away because you can actually use them to make new little flowers, paper flowers, whatever. And I'm going to be using one of these sunflowers, wriggling the wire round and round till it snaps off. But I'm going to be removing the centre, and I'm going to cut myself a piece of green wool as my stem and leaves. Okay, this sheet at the side, you can see it is a free printable on my blog today. The link will be down below. Now I'm showing you here, if you want to use the wool as it is straight away, you just cover it in undiluted PVA glue and stick it straight to your paper. But what I like to do is dilute down some glue, an equal part of glue and water, saturate the wool, get rid of the excess by smoothing my fingers down it and then hanging it up until it dries and it goes very stiff and is much easier to work with, and then you can glue it down that way. Okay, so this printable, as I was saying, it's just a bunch of sentiments, a couple of tickets and a couple of bingo cards. Ignore that second printout. And it's on my blog today and we're going to be using it in this little card, so go get it, go give yourself a little printout. I'm going to be using some buttons instead of the centre of this flower. I'm just peeling it off carefully. And we're going to make ourselves a cute little collage. Okay, so I'm going to pick some buttons that look like they match the centre and I'm going to layer them up. Now the thing I love about making these kind of junk journal cards is you can take all of your random stash that you have, your buttons, your fabric, your wools, and you can turn them into something that totally matches the style that you normally make and make such a cute little card that you can slide into a junk journal. Just try not to make it too bulky, keep it quite as flat as possible and it'll still fit inside a junk journal. Okay, I'm inking the edges. As always, whenever I make anything, I try and ink all of my elements with one ink, just to make it cohesive and look like they belong together. I'm going to cut out one of the bingo cards and one of the sentiments and one of the tickets. I know it's such a random combination that I've put on one sheet, but I was needing all of these things for something else and decided to make a printable. And well, you can have it. It's on my blog, go get it. I will leave it there for you to print out. I just made it on Canva. Okay, I'm going to cut out my elements and I'm also going to be inking them. In the future, I think I'm going to make some bingo cards from scratch myself because I wasn't that happy with these ones. But, you know, they were free and they were on Canva. Cutting out my ticket. And I could have done some stamping and things in this project, but for once I don't think I actually needed it. We're going to be using some stickers. Now I'm only loosely cutting out the sentiment right now because inking it when it is still a rectangle is actually easier than inking it when it becomes a lot of little fiddly edges. It's more likely to tear or lift up. So I'm going to ink everything with the vintage Photo. I'm going to make everything look dirty and grungy. Something was stuck to my mat that was annoying me. And you know, I like things that are grungy and dingy and a little bit gross, so that's what I'm doing to all of my elements. But you do you. If you don't like grungy and everything to look like it's been left outside for a number of years, then don't do that. Make it nice and clean and polished and nothing like what I make. Okay, I'm getting all my elements ready, and I'm going to use all of these on my little card. So I'm just getting everything ready so that when it comes to gluing everything together, I don't have to keep going back and forward between inking. Now I'm going to mess around with them and see where I like the placement. Just lay everything down, and then I'm going to get out some Gel Matte Medium. Now Gel Matte Medium is actually a collage glue. It is made for the purpose of collaging papers together, and it dries matte, and it's also very good for making shiny things matte. So whatever elements you use, if you cover everything at the end with a layer of this, it will mattify and make them all the same. So I am gluing down on my elements, and I'm also going over the top of them because it stops them from wrinkling and helps seal them down. Try to figure out where I'm putting my sentiment, and was undecided, so I decided to leave it aside for now. Now I'm going to layer up those flower petals that I massacred from other flowers, and trying to decide if I'm going to use one or two. I think I might just use one and layer up a couple of buttons in the center of it. And I'm going to use my cheap ass craft wood glue to glue everything down. You probably would be better using hot glue for this if you don't want to be waiting on things drying, but I didn't mind about leaving them to dry because I actually had to go to the vets in the middle of this project, so I knew I was going to be away for a couple hours. So I'm gluing them down, every single layer one by one, and then I'm going to glue the buttons on top. Tell you, hot glue works perfectly, but I was too lazy to go and turn my hot glue gun on and bring it over because I knew I was going to be going out anyway, so I'm doing it with this glue. And I did try and persevere with the second flower, but girl, let it go. Now, I should have let my wool dry, so please ignore how floppy it is. At this point it should have been dry and stiff and easier to work with, but because I decided to glue it on now when it was still wet, it looks a little bit floppy. It sticks to my fingers. It's really aggravating when it's like this, and you can see it's just annoying. It's annoying to work with when it's wet, so let it dry. If you don't want to let it dry, then don't use that method in the first place. Use the other method where you just smother it in your glue and stick it down straight away. It is not as annoying as this. Okay, so I'm also getting rid of that annoying thing because it just kept getting in my way. I'm just going to glue it down with my wood glue. Now the thing with PVA glue and wood glue is they both dry with a little bit of a shine residue. So the Gel Matte Medium is really good for hiding that. If you cover everything at the end with a layer of it, it will mattify it all down and you won't even see any glue residue. Okay, gluing it down. I found that gluing in the edges and then going round where it laid was actually easier when it was this annoying to work with. But yeah, don't be like me, let it dry, and then you will have a nice stiff piece of string to work with, which is much easier to maneuver and does not keep sticking to your fingers in such a manner. Okay, so we've got that all laid down, and I was trying to decide if I wanted to put more buttons and things, and the answer is no. We don't want more buttons. Okay, like the power of magic, as you can see, it's nice and dry. Now I went to the vet, cheek was fine now, and I came home and I was like, yay, it's dry, I can finish. So I'm moving to stickers now, and at first I was looking for little flower stickers, and then I realised butterflies might look actually cute. I tell you, since I discovered that you can mattify glossy stickers with Gel Matte Medium, I now use them on everything. So I'm just going to place some butterfly stickers in a similar colour theme. I realised I wanted more ink around the edges of my flower before I stick them down. It's another little trick, is where you ink around things and over things, and it just nestles them down into your picture rather than them be something that stands out. So don't be afraid to get the ink on everything. Then we'll put your stickers on. So I'm just picking a bunch of butterfly stickers in a similar palette to everything that I've got going on here, tucking them in wherever I see fit. Probably using way too many butterfly stickers, but I was in one of those moods. This little one here is not going to stay here. I end up moving that later, but for right now it is where it is. And for some reason I was really struggling where to put this one, where I just put it in the place that I originally was going to put it, and then I was looking for just one more for up in that little space there. Okay, so I'm going to ink on my edges once again, just to make it look more framed, and we are going to move to mounting this onto the card, and we're going to be using our fabric tape behind it. I'm going to show you what I do with my fabric tape, and we're also going to be using our sentiment. So this is where I will cut it out properly. I'm just going to round the words a little bit, and as you can see, it's a pain in the bum when it comes to re-inking this to get the edges, and you'll see why I left it square for the majority of the inking, because it's more tendency to lift up and curl and rip when you're trying to ink something like this. And I was being really gentle as well. Actually, my version of gentle is probably still really heavy-handed compared to many other people. My friend Louise tells me all the time I don't know what a gentle touch is. Okay, so here is my card, but I'm going to clean up my desk first because that ink is going to make everything messy. And I did a good job of cleaning it. Like, I did a really sterling job, and yet I still managed to get ink on the back of my card. Okay, so I'm going to use my fabric tape. I'm just going to loosely cut myself a strip. I did try to use my little tool on it, but it frustrated me, and I just did it with my fingers. And then got it stuck to absolutely everything it shouldn't be. I'm going to stick it to the side of my little card. Looks so lovely. I love making fabric tape. It's such a easy, quick thing to make, and it always looks really sweet in collage pieces. It just adds a little extra dimension. And the best thing is, you can ink it. It accepts ink the same way paper does. So I'm going to be doing that just to blend this in. And you can always keep your little scrap cut-offs like this bit, stick them onto the back of your strip, ready to be peeled again, if you're somebody that likes to keep the scraps. Okay, so I've got, see, ink on the back. Where did that even come from? See, I'm inking my fabric, and look how beautifully it takes ink. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. It's lovely. It just looks like I've dragged it through the mud for a couple of miles. Exactly the look that I like. I'm going to be gluing my bingo cards, brown paper thing on, and I'm going to cut myself a little fabric heart just to tie in that background fabric to the front of my picture. I'm also going to ink that and dirty it up a little bit. And I'm going to find a suitable place to stick my heart to bring in that fabric from the background, and also where I'm going to put my sentiment. So this is where you can move things around and try to figure it out. And I was like, you know what, if I moved it to one side and put that there, it'd look really cute. And then maybe put the heart on the stem. But now I need something here. So I go to my little scrap bin, and I look for something in the colour that goes with my Orville theme after I stick this little heart down. I was grappling with it, me and my peeling trauma. Sticking that down, and look how cute that it ties in the fabric. And I found this little scrap of green paper, which has got really dark green in it. So I'm going to cut myself a strip, and we're going to use that to sort of bring some balance back to the fact that I'm moving my picture to one side. And it had bright white in the gaps, so I'm filling them in with the vintage photo and grunging it down so that it'll look more cohesive. And we're going to stick that to one side if I can ever get it off my mat. It was being really weirdly sticky, and look how good that's going to look. Okay, so yeah, I decided this sticker needed to move, so I'm moving it up there because my sentiment's going down there. Getting my gel matte medium out, and we're going to glue down our paper. I don't know why I was so sparing with the gel matte medium. I put a tiny little amount. I think it's because I used too much the first time and had to waste some. So I was trying to be a little less wasteful this time and kept running out and having to put more out. You know, I had it in the wrong place. So I'm just, when you're using gel matte medium, you might have to use extra if you're going over a fabric. So that's what I was doing there. And as you can see, I needed more already. Covering over my little strip. Now I'm also going to cover the back. And that is way not enough. Why was I being so like stingy? Now I have enough. I'm going to cover the whole back of my brown paper. You have to use quite a generous amount with gel matte medium. And then I'm going to stick that to the front. And you also go over the top. That's going to mattify all your stickers. It's going to seal everything, hold it down. And it's also going to help smooth out the paper and combat wrinkling. I find that when it comes to decoupage and paper, gel matte medium is less likely to wrinkle than Mod Podge, so it is my go-to every time. Plus I don't really like the shine of Mod Podge, so gel matte medium all the way. I'm gluing down my edges, smoothing it out. Now there might be a couple of little wrinkles at first, but if you smooth it well enough they will dry out and go away. And I'm going to glue on my sentiment to that little spot that I made for it. And look how cute that looks. And then I'm going to leave that to dry and come back when it is drier. I'm going over the butterflies again just to be sure that they are very matte. And wiping away that excess. And here we are. I trimmed off, I left it dry. There's still a little bit dampness around the stems. As you can see, my stickers are now nice and matte. I'm just going to go over my little butterflies a little bit just to grunge them up because they were obviously too clean looking compared to everything else. Just touching up the edges that I trimmed. And there we go. We have an almost dry card, and look how cute it looks. I'm just going to trim off some of that little bit of fray in there but leave little edges, and we have a little grungy flower card using fabric, wool, buttons and fake flowers. If you like this project, leave a comment below and I will see you in the next one. Bye.